Now, the Western Regional Minister, Joseph Nelson, has joined me on phone to discuss his approach to tackling illegal mining in the Western region. Thank you very much, Honorable, for joining us. Now, as the new Regional Minister, illegal mining is one of the biggest challenges you will face. What has been your assessment so far? Hello? Right, so we'll re-establish contact with the Western Regional Minister. But we also have here in the studio Darrell Busu, who is Deputy Director of Arocha, Ghana. Thank you very much, Darrell, for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Right, so let's just look at the fight against Galamsey illegal mining. It looks like we are still struggling to find a lasting solution to deal with this menace. What has been your assessment over the period?
Well, to start with, I think we need to say it bluntly that the previous administration failed woefully when it comes to addressing Galamsey. And I must say that when it comes to the forest reserve, I think the minister, the former minister for lands, was very untruthful about the situation and the condition of our forest reserves. I recall there was a report by the Professor Frimpong Boateng talking about some forest reserves being given out and all of that. I mean, all of these were debunked, and the fact that they were not true. He was in Parliament and also said that the state of our forest reserves or the ecological integrity of our forest reserves was intact. We challenged him to really show, because from what we saw on the ground, it was not so. And he was still adamant. And so the information coming out now from the assessment by the new government tells us that we really are in a very dire condition when you talk about our forest reserves. And for me, I think that this government has a very tall order to deal with, because if you look at the menace, the mess, the degradation. I mean, anytime I see these pictures of Galamsey and what it has done to our forest reserves and our rivers, you can't but to really cringe inside and say, how can we as a country allow this to happen? So for me, I think that we have a lot to do now, and I want to see this government really stay resolute in that decision. I've seen them right now really taking some steps. I must say they were slow in picking up on the trail of Galamseyers, because within the period of the transition, a lot happened. There were some takeovers, some were even brutal, some substitution of miners and all of that, and a lot happened. So I want to see that this renewed fight with the new government in power, we want to see that things really take off very decisively.
Well, so for citizens, there's so much we can see. You know, we can just go as far as what we see, the pictures that we see on TV. But as the experts break things down, how dire is the situation? What is the real state of Galamsey in this country with regard to forest reserves?
Yes. I mean, let me just put aside the forest reserve issue. I mean, if you travel from Accra, going towards the eastern region, towards Konongo, you see the menace and the devastation at Isuno, and you name it. And then when you get to even Chebi in the eastern region, you see serious Galamsey activities going on. Now you go to western region, along the Elembele areas, the Sendu areas, close to the Manzule areas. There's serious Galamsey activities still going on.
All right,
and then
so Darrell,
let's
let's leave it now at the western region, because we've been joined by the Western Regional Minister, Joseph Nelson. Thank you very much, Honorable, for joining us.
Thank you, sister.
Right now, illegal mining is a serious challenge in the western region. So far, what has been your assessment?
Yeah, thank you. That's true. Illegal mining is on the rampage, destroying our water bodies and the environment generally. And so, if you take the 14 MMDA, that's the Metropolitan Municipal and District Assemblies, just about 3 out of them that are free from the illegal mining menace. The rest of them are all, ravaged by this serious, challenge that we have on our hands. And so, yes, I heard the earlier speaker mentioning some parts of the Western region. I mean, go to the Amenfi, all down to the Valledra, you know, and across. I mean, you see clearly that this is a challenge that we need to grapple with and maybe face head on and see how we can resolve. Our water bodies have been so polluted.
Right, Honorable, so these challenges, we are very much aware, the pollution of our water bodies. Yes. We don't need anyone to tell us about that.
Yeah.
And we seem to be recycling, you know, approaches in dealing with illegal mining. Now, what are you going to do to ensure a sustainable fight against Galamsey?
Well, the first thing that I see is a commitment to the fight. I mean, that's the major thing that I see missing. Commitment to the fight. And so, yes, we've seen some fight against this menace in the past, and rather unsuccessfully. And this time around, I'm not even saying that the fight is going to be easy. I know it's going to be very, very tough. But the key thing, as I mentioned, is commitment. And I'm very committed to, you know, fighting this menace. Of course, as RCC, that's the Regional Coordinating Council, we are always going to play a complementary role to, you know, what the ministry itself is going to do. And so I've had a chat with the sector minister. We know exactly what we are going to do. And in fact, over the last week, we arrested some Chinese on the Pra River. And then last weekend, Saturday, we arrested some more in the Valledra area. So, yes, someone will say that this is not new. Yes, indeed, it's not new. So the question is, how do we sustain it? And that is where commitment comes in. Commitment to see through this project of getting our water bodies, our forest reserves, you know, free from, you know, this. And to tell you the truth, I'm very committed to it. And the approaches, apart from getting them off the land, I think that we must also tackle the issue of regulation. It's very, very important. And this is where the Minerals Commission comes in. My sister, today, if you go to the field and you see the devastation, you cannot differentiate from that small mining company that is doing legal mining or that has a license from the other that doesn't have a license. Okay? So it's a confusing situation. I mean, you go there and it's like, this one has a license and is doing the same thing as the other one that doesn't have a license. So there must be a clear standard, you know, on how small-scale mining has to be approached in this country. And I think that at the moment, it doesn't exist. And so we begin to draw the line so that we know which ones are doing the right things and which ones are not. As we speak now, it's almost like, I mean, all of them are both together doing, you know, things anyhow. And so, yes, we'll do our bit, get these people arrested. But even for those who have the licenses, how do they mine? How are they expected to mine? Is it a matter of just giving a paper to, you know, somebody to indicate that they have a license, or that they are shown clearly, you know, how to mine? And so these are matters that I believe that the ministry will begin to look at, and so that we are able to, you know, come to a point where we have a standard way of, you know, doing small-scale mining, so that we can separate those who don't do the right thing from those who are doing illegal mining. As we have it, you cannot separate the two. And so we just have to go head on, get the people who are destroying our water bodies off, and then later we see who has a license and who doesn't have. But
Honorable, I believe that you would agree with me that in ensuring accountability and transparency in your fight against Galamsey, you will need the media. Now, last week we had our regional correspondent, Akwesi J. attacked by illegal miners in the Bremai Adomenya Forest Reserve while discharging his duties. Now, if this has come to your attention, what is your reaction to this, and how are you going to protect journalists who will be supporting you in your fight?
Well, this matter came to my notice over the weekend through the sector minister, and indeed, listening to him on your network, I heard him say something about it, that those involved have been arrested. At least that is good news. But I can assure you that I know Quincy very well. I can assure you that the media personnel involved in this fight will be protected, and that we are going to make sure that this thing that happened over the weekend will never rear its head again.
Thank you very much, Western Regional Minister Joseph Nelson. This is the Channel One newsroom. We still have Daryl Busu with us from Arusha, Ghana. Now, Daryl, you heard what the regional minister has said. He is committed. That is what he tells us. Is that what we need now?
Well, I think that is a very crucial aspect of the fight, and we need the political leadership to be very committed. They should show that they really want to deal with this. And I must say that I've been very impressed with some of the statements that the Honorable Minister, the Sector Minister, has been issuing so far. He's committed to supporting the media and protecting them. He has indicated that. And he also said that the miners have nowhere to hide, and they are going to come after them with all the force that they have. So I think that is important. That political will should be demonstrated, and I think they are doing that. What is needed now is the action. We need to follow all the talk with action and show that we are going to be very uncompromising when it comes to dealing with Galamsey.
You know, talking about action, we've seen military crackdowns, we've seen licensing reforms, we've seen community sensitization. We keep running around in circles. What exactly are we not doing right? Should we just change this entire approach, and what should we do?
Yes, I think when you talk about the military intervention over the past years, Operation Halt, Operation Vanguard, the missing link was persecution or prosecution of these cases. You remember the military officers even said that they go to the field, they arrest so many people, they hand them over to the police, there's nobody following up on the cases. So that was a critical missing gap. And until we do that, we need to really set up these specialized courts that we've been talking about and start really prosecuting people who are found culpable of engaging in illegal activities. There was, the previous government passed Act 995, which even made it criminal to be involved in Galamsey, to be financing Galamsey, even to be fabricating equipment for Galamsey operators. We didn't really apply all of these things. We still allow people, when we arrest them, then somebody comes on the back of that to come and provide some, you let these guys go, and then and the minister has said it. I'm really happy he said he's not going to tolerate other people vouching for people and getting people off the hook. I think we need to let the full force of the law work now. That was the mistake we did in the past. And if we fail at it this time around, we are never going to succeed ever again.
Well, we hope to succeed. We'll come back to you. But this is Channel One Newsroom, and we still have Deputy Director of Arusha, Ghana, Daryl Busu, in studio with me. Now, Daryl, let me find out from you. So there's a new government now. You've mentioned how things didn't go as expected with the previous government. How confident are you in the NDC government, to find a sustainable solution to illegal mining?
You've asked a very difficult question, because if you look at the evidence available to us, we remember how the MPP was also equally very eager in 2017 when they took office. We even had a ban on small-scale mining from 2017 July right up to 2018 end of the year, and we even got drones, all of that. We started talking about tagging, geotagging, excavators. We even had Galamsey. All of these ideas were in the face. So, I don't want to believe that now the new government is also showing us that they are committed and all of that, and then get to the fourth or third year, all the confidence, all the commitment wanes. This is where I am. But you asked about confidence. The president, as proud to he taking office, did make certain commitment. And I think if you also recall, the Ghana Coalition Against Galamsey also committed him by signing a pact to really address Galamsey head on. And so we think that he has a lot to show us, a lot in terms of legacy, in terms of what needs to be done, and he demonstrated that he was going to do it. I must say, His Excellency President Mahama has a lot to do now, because I recall this whole Galamsey thing got out of hand during his tenure. I mean, from 2012 coming to 2016, it got really out of hand then. And then going to 2017, there was a new government. We expected some real good action to deal with it. We didn't see as it really got worse towards the end of 2024. And so I think that His Excellency President Mahama has a lot to do now, rally all his ministers and also everybody in government to make sure that we deal with this. So in terms of, I'll be very cautious about it now. I'm not going to say I have full confidence yet. I need to see the actions on the ground before we can say, yes, this government, it means business. Until we see that, it's going to be very, and it's also early days here to say they really mean what they are saying.
Now, one very critical thing we have to look at is the role of the media.
Yeah.
You know, we play a very critical role in ensuring, I mean, for us at Channel One, we have launched a whole campaign on illegal mining. Now, last week, our correspondent was attacked.
Yeah.
Moving on in this fight, what recommendations would you give the government and security agencies to ensure that journalists are very safe in carrying out our duties?
Yeah, I think right now, for me, what I am very happy to see is that the sector minister, Honorable Boa, has indicated his support for the media. And so maybe we need to see some sort of protection being given to the media when they are going on site with them to report on what is happening. And maybe the ministry can take lead on that. So I think also the media agencies should take note and maybe get some police teams to accompany them as they move to site. And like you said, media is also very important because even the narrative around how people are doing Galamsey, how they perceive Galamsey, the issue about job for the boys and all of that, it is the media that can change that. So we need to first of all protect the media before we can get that kind of result as we seek. And we had issues with, Erastos and some other members, and now this issue. So it's really an issue of concern, and I'm very happy the minister has acknowledged it's a very sensitive issue. The previous government really was silent about these issues. To see the sector minister speak about this, for me, is very good and something we should all take seriously. So the media agencies should really, jump on this and work with it. So should the ministry also support the media as it go out into the field.
Very well, Deputy Director Arocha Ghana, Darrell, thank you very much.
It's a pleasure.